Hello and welcome to 10Alarm. In this video we're going to demonstrate how to configure a backup or schedule a backup using the 10Alarm client on your computer. The first step is to name the schedule. For this demonstration we're going to call this Daily 1. Now I can have a pre-configured backup set selected, such as My Documents, Microsoft Outlook, Outlook Express, Mozilla, Internet Explorer, My Desktop, or My Registry. Please note that if you're selecting one of these pre-configured backups, you can only select one and you cannot combine it with anything else. Now, if I want to select a specific folder, I click on the plus sign next to the C drive and I say, okay, I want to back up Earth. Okay? The next step, now that I have my file configured or file selected, which I want to back up, I'm going to tell it where I want to back up. So I'm going to select a backup server, and I'm going to test the connectivity to that backup server. This test is to ensure that the software can talk to the backup server and communications can be established prior to configuring a backup. That way, once it's configured, you know there is connectivity. Okay, so I have green checks across the board. Any red check would have to be addressed. You can call our support line at 646-881-4447 if any of these come out with an X. Okay. The next part is to add a password to this backup schedule or backup set. Now, this is a very important part because the password is what encrypts your backup. If you must remember your password no matter what happens, because it is the only way you'll be able to restore any data from the backup server. Data is encrypted using that password prior to leaving your computer, meaning that if data is transmitted over the internet, everything that's transmitted over the internet is encrypted. We have no way of recovering this password. So make it easy for you to remember, make it difficult for somebody else to guess. So I'm going to put a password here and confirm it. Must be at least 6 characters long. The next step is the retention policies. You can tell the backup set to hold X amount of versions that you want. I'm going to leave it at the default, which is 5, and the 5 for deleted files. Deleted files versioning or retention is that if you deleted a file by mistake, you can go to your restore, your last 5 restores, to recover that file. Okay? The fourth step is to schedule this. Now, the scheduler can be run continuously, which if you have small amount of data that isn't changing too much, this could be advantageous because it's more like a replication. The second option would be to run every few hours. So if you have, say, an email, your email, if you want your email to be backed up every 2 or 3 hours because email is critical to you, that is an option you can select here. Third option would be to run daily. So you pick a time in the day, you pick a time during the day, you select that time, and it'll run at that time as long as your computer is powered on. That's very important. The computer must be powered on while it's doing the backup. Fourth option is to run weekly. So once a week, say Friday night, you have a lot of data. You only want to run it once a night. You don't want to be in your computer degrading in performance because of a backup. There is some performance impact by running a backup. Any backup software does that. And if you have large amount of data, we recommend to do it once a week. The other option, the final one, is to run once. So you want to back up your data once. You don't want to do it periodically. You just want to, you have an archive, you put it in there, you don't want to forget it. And leave it there in case you ever need to retrieve it. You want to keep it off your hard drive, for example. There are the fifth step, the additional full backup. So you suppose you want to do a daily backup, and you want to keep the backup before that. So you can say, okay, you know what? I want to keep at least 2 full backups on the server. So what happens when the full backup runs is the next backup will overwrite the other one. Now, if you select two versions, it'll keep the first backup, then do a second backup. And so you'll have 2 copies of your file. I could do, and I hit OK. Yeah. Every week. And I want to select Friday. Okay. So then I can go to the advanced option. The advanced option gives me a couple other choices. I could tell it to run 10Alarm when the computer boots up. I could tell it to run the backup immediately after scheduling it. So if you want to run your backup now, this is the checkbox to do with. The other option is how many times should 10Alarm try to back up to the backup server in case there is a network problem, your cable went down, your internet connection went down. How many times or retries does it need to have before it stops trying? It does the automatic directory monitoring, just to make sure files are there and they haven't changed, or if they have changed, they get backed up. The volume shadow copy is a very important part. This is part of Windows 2003, XP, Vista, 7. What it does is it creates a snapshot of everything that you have prior to making a backup. So it creates that snapshot, sort of like a picture. This is my Polaroid. This is my backup picture of my files, and then encrypts it and then sends it off to the internet. The last part is for network administrators, backup NTFS permissions. That's if you have a domain or a business network where you have it locked down and you need to make sure that the data that you're backing up has all the permissions associated with the files that you're backing up. In case you're restoring, when you get a restore, all those permissions come back with it. The rest of the options are more of performance. So how much of your processor or CPU do you want to use? How much compression do you want to use? The bigger the compression, the smaller the size on your drive in the backup server, and the cheaper or more cost-effective it is. The IntelliDelta backup is a feature that is only with 10Alarm, that only backs up information that has been touched. So if the file has been static or has not been touched for 6 months, and 6 months ago you made a backup of it, it doesn't need to back it up anymore because it hasn't been touched since. Okay, so we hit OK here. One more thing before we continue. You can run, for those of you that are network administrators or network engineers, you can run pre and post commands in case you needed to back up, say, a database or do some sort of action or task prior to running a backup on the computer you're trying to back up. Okay, so we have that set. We save our backup. The warning sign is more of you've chosen to protect your backup data with a password. Please remember this password. There is no way we can retrieve any data for you. The data is protected with this password, and it is only accessible to the people that know the password. So you hit OK. Okay, as you can see, the first volume shadow copy is being created. This is the picture of the Polaroid of your backup files. Once the snapshot has been completed, it'll start transmitting the information to the backup server. This concludes the demonstration on how to create a scheduled backup. For more information, please call our support specialist at 646-881-4447, or you can visit us online at www.10alarm.net. Thank you.